What's up, everybody? Uh, it's hard to come on here and even have like an opening statement because I feel like we're all probably on the same page where it's just like utter absolute disappointment today. I mean, I know I woke up, it was like 2:45 in the morning, and I started seeing the tweets, and I was just like, damn it. Like I knew it was coming, and it was still like just damn it. But it sucks. And Twitter was a fun place today. Um, a lot of the fans are upset and disappointed, frustrated. Look, I get it. I get it. This team it's good. Um, we've watched it win 100 games. We got excited. We got some new ownership. They said some words to get us even more excited. Look, I get all of it, man, and I'm just as frustrated as everybody else. But I mean, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. This it's still a good team, man. And the reason why I kind of went live tonight is I just wanted to go back and look at just wanted to look at in 2023, and I just tweeted it a couple of minutes ago. Like this team went 120 straight series with Jordan Lyles as an ace and Kyle Gibson as an ace, and never getting swept. Like that's the kind of team that we have here. And look, I understand that the Yankees went and made some moves, and I understand that Boston tried to make themselves better, but look, we won 120 straight series with Jordan Lyles and Kyle Gibson throwing the most innings in our pitching staff. They can win without Corbin Burnes. Corbin makes it easier. Obviously, I'm not discrediting that. He makes it easier, but I mean, we've got some good guys here. Like, I mean, just looking back at 2023, right? 2023, the starting pitching wasn't as good as the bullpen. The bullpen was freaking stout. Bullpen was absolutely stout. Joe, what's up, my friend? This year, the starting was absolutely stout. And when you look down at things, right? So in 2023, Kyle Bradish was really good. But he didn't throw as many innings as Kyle Gibson. But he was really good. So you lost him this year, and essentially you replaced Kyle with Burnes, right? You've replaced Kyle Gibson. I said Kyle Bradish, I'm sorry, the first time. You replaced Bradish with Burnes. You replaced Kyle Gibson with Suarez this year. Same age, but you went from a 4.81 ERA to a 3.7. Grayson Rodriguez in 2023 had a 4.35, and then down to this year, a 3.86. So he took the next step. Now, what concerns me is he only had 23 starts in 23, and he only had 20 starts in 24. The strikeouts were the exact same. The home run count went down. Dean Kramer, the ERAs were virtually the same, 4.12 and a 4.10 between 23 and 24. What I liked about Dean went from 27 home runs down to 18. And now, yes, he pitched 6 less games. I get that, but we saw an improved Dean Kramer. The biggest thing is, Cole Irvin wasn't great in 23. We had Tyler Wells. Tyler pitched very well in 23, had a 3.98. But now you're getting kind of Cade Povich to kind of take over for Cole Irvin. Look, the 2025 rotation is not going to be all that bad. That bad. If we see consistency, right? We've watched some guys in our rotation get better from 23 to 24. What makes me think they're not going to get a little bit better in 25, right? So you're probably going to get a better Grayson, right? If Grayson has the same season, but he actually finishes it at a 3.86, I don't think anybody's complaining. That's pretty decent. I'd like to see him get his Ks up a little bit, but we'll say Grayson ran a 3.6. I expect him to get a little bit better. Dean Kramer, if he stays at a 4.0, we can get him to a 4, right? As your number 4 or 5. That's respectable around baseball. Cade Povich stays around a 4.2, which is good for a number 5. Like Sagano is going to be a guy, and I like Sagano a lot. When you look at the last couple of additions, Corbin Burns, Zach Eflin, and Sagano, they're all kind of the same. They throw a lot of strikes. They're not afraid to attack you in the zone, and they don't dance around. They're coming after you. 2 strikes, no strikes, doesn't matter. They're absolutely coming after you, which helps the defense, for one, because they're expecting the ball at any time. They're not falling asleep. It's why it's why our defense is always very, very good. Sagano, I like. It's just it's not all doom and gloom. Like, if we see the same progressions, right? Dean's another year older. He's a little bit more mature. Same with Grayson, a little bit more mature. Cade is going to be a little bit more mature. I don't expect Suarez to have the same kind of year that he had at his age. Can he fill in for some spot starts and do well? Yes, 100,000%. I don't expect a whole lot from Tyler Wells and Kyle Bradish if they come back. If they do, great. I'm not expecting it. But let's think about it. So we had Cole Irvin kind of struggle, right? And then you kind of had a rotating door of who that next guy was. Sagano kind of solidifies that. That helps a lot. So I don't expect Eflin to have the same season that he had when he came here either. Like, that's really hard to replicate what he was doing. But he's still good enough, right? He's still going to stay right around a 3 to a 3.3 ERA. I just don't see the glaring hole that everybody else does. Yes, they do not have a guy to take the ball in game 1 of a playoff series. But, I mean, in 23, the playoff series, the only really bad start was how old was Grayson? 22, 23? Like, I'll give him a little pass for that. But, I mean, just the team in 23 won 100 games with a pretty bad starting rotation. They had a good bullpen. So now you have, I'm not going to say 25's rotation is going to be bad. It's not as good as 24, but it's still respectable. And if you go out and you stout the bullpen again, that bullpen in 23 had like a 2.9 ERA. That was fantastic. Last year was like a 4.2. You get back to a 2.9 or a 3 ERA bullpen with this starting rotation that we have right this second. That's pretty good, in my opinion. And I'm with Paul here. I don't think the rotation is complete as it currently stands. They're going to do something. And I'm here with PR. I still think this team wins 90 games, in my humble opinion. They're still good enough to win 90 games right this second without even adding another pitcher. They're still going to add another pitcher, but right this second, they're good enough to win 90 games. It all comes down to the offense, in all honesty. We saw in 23, the pitching was good enough to win at least a game or two. They only had one good game of offense in 2 years. The offense has been the problem in the postseason, and everybody's so fixated because, the Yankees got a starter and Red Sox got a starter and the Tigers got all these starters. Guys, good pitching beats good hitting. I 1,000% agree with that, but good hitting can also knock a guy out of the game with a couple mistakes. And when we saw early with the Cole Reagan start this year, our guys didn't hit those mistakes. Cole Reagans could have been out of that game very, very quickly. He was leaving a lot of balls in the middle of the zone. Now, he was hitting his corners too, and he was pitching, but he was leaving a lot of balls in the middle of the zone, and we didn't hit it. You fix that. That's a difference in a game, in my opinion. I'm with Moose here. Just pound the zone. Pound the zone. That's one thing I wish Grayson would get a little bit better at. Trust his stuff. Look, you throw hard. You don't always have to overthrow a guy. Trust your stuff to bury one in the corner or something like that. Joe, I don't think we even see Brandon this year, to be honest with you. I don't know if we do or not. Mike Means is a free agent. The Mountain we have no idea what to expect with Felix Bautista. And that's why I really want to pack the bullpen. You knew what you were getting in 23. He was coming in. He was shutting the door. What are you getting now? Is he throwing 103 miles an hour again? Because, look, I'll be dead honest with you, and I might be in the minority on this one. Felix Bautista throws a flat fastball. It's dead flat. And when he misses, he gets hit. He didn't miss a whole lot, but now that you're coming off Tommy John, you're going to be very rusty. He's going to be a little rusty for a while. He's going to miss. Now, if he's only throwing 99, he's going to get hit hard. The 99 and 103 is a big difference. Big difference. Now, 99 is still hard to hit, don't get me wrong, but when the ball don't move a whole lot, it gets hit hard a little bit. And they always need to have a contingency plan, in my opinion. Elias thinks he addressed the offense. He hasn't. I agree. He's in a bad spot, in my opinion, though, because it's hard to explain. Like, you invested into these kids and you groom them and you promised them a chance. And, now that they're kind of ready, it's like, it's hard to just look them in the eye and be like, oh, hey, I'm bringing so-and-so in and you're probably going back to AAA. Like, that, it's a very fine line to walk because, one, you could lose the team quick and you could lose the organization pretty quick because now that pretty much tells everybody that you have no faith in any of them. So it's a very, very fine line that he has to pick and choose when he's going to walk that. Now, that being said, I would 1,000% welcome an Alex Bregman to this team or a Pete Alonso. I just feel like the offense just needs one more leader and thumper. Bregman's great in runners in scoring position. Freaking great. And he's versatile, and it would open up a lot in this offense and on this defense. Moving guys around, matchups, whatever. It helps immensely. I just don't know if they're in that or not. Brian, that's how I feel. Load the bullpen. Tanner Scott, AJ Minter, Kendall Graveman. The bullpen's set. Cool. They're upgradable. They just went to, and they showed you last year what they're capable of without Felix Bautista as their crutch. Upgrade them. I like the guys that we have. If they're there, I'm okay. I'm not going to complain. I'll cheer them on. If you have the opportunity to bring in Tanner Scott and upgrade Cino Perez, please do it. That's how I feel about it. And I still like Cino. I think he gets some outs. He's, but when you have an opportunity to upgrade arms, please take it. Don't be a little bit more cautious with your younger guys on the hitting side, not in the bullpen. Please upgrade that. That's how I feel about that. I think they are expecting that. And Mountcastle's an interesting guy. Hit 294 runners in scoring position. He hit 270 overall. It's very weird that the RBIs didn't translate to the 294 runners in scoring position. And a lot of that was because, he was the number one first baseman in the league in hitting the ball the opposite way. So he was hitting the ball to right field a lot. The problem was they were soft liners, or they were like either hard liners right to the right fielder, or they were ground balls between first and second. Guys didn't have a chance to score. And, only hitting 13 home runs as a young first baseman, it's not a good look. 8 of them were at home, though. And I think that's why they're banking on him doing well. So he still was second on the team in hitting home runs to left field. And now left field's coming in a little bit more. So I think they're kind of excited to see what he does. I'm all in on this, Chris. All in. I like I said, I think the rotation right now is good enough with what they have. We're going to see progression from guys. We're going to see McDermott this year. We might see Brandon Young. I'm not 100% sure. If we do, it's probably a bullpen type role. But listen, if you go get Pablo Lopez and you insert Pablo Lopez behind Zach Eflin, you can even put him in front. I don't care what you decide to do with that situation right there. Pablo Lopez, Zach Eflin, Grayson Rodriguez, Dean Kramer, and A or B, Povich or Rogers, whoever wins that spot in spring training. There will be one lefty in this rotation, and which makes me think Sagano at least starts in the bullpen. unless they go with a 6-man right off the jump. I don't know. Look, they paid Sagano a good chunk of change. He's going to get his reps. He might start in the bullpen just to kind of get a feel for the difference in size of the mound, the different seams in the baseball. The baseballs are completely different. The weight, the seams, the leather, all of it completely different. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment. But I still think he's going to be a good guy for us, especially just for 1 year. He comes out and has an Albert Suarez type season at a 3.76 ERA, 30 some starts, even 20 starts, 25 starts. That helps the team, right? I don't know. I'm probably an overly optimistic Orioles fan. I have more patience than others when it comes to Mike Elias and moves and stuff like that. Probably gets me in trouble, is what it is. I just don't see when people say that this is a 4th place team in the AL. I don't see it. I don't see them saying that we might be a 500 team and miss the playoffs. I don't see it. It's a good roster. It could be a little bit better, sure, to make a serious run, but it's still a playoff roster right now. It's all going to come down to hitting. That's it for us. Is can the kids hit? That's all it's going to come down to. I love Tanner Scott too, Brendan. Add another starting quality pitcher. Yeah, that's all you. Look, baseball's changing. Baseball is changing, and it's not just Brandon Hyde that plays matchups. We saw it in the postseason when people really take analytics serious, like really take it serious. And around baseball, when you hit that 3rd time in the lineup, averages and ERAs skyrocket. Absolutely skyrocket. And a lot of teams are taking their guys out that 3rd time through the lineup. And if it's not, if it's the 3rd time through the lineup, but, they're in the 5th inning and they're facing the bottom half, they're getting their extra shot. They're not facing Aaron Judge for a 3rd and 4th time very much anymore. So nowadays you're getting the matchups where guys don't see the same guy over and over. And to me, loading the bullpen up is a big deal. It's a huge deal. I mean, look at Cleveland last year. One of the best bullpens that we've seen in a long time. Did you know they're one of the worst offenses in all of baseball? They were terrible. And look, they made it to the ALCS with a terrible offense. Brutal offense. Good enough starting pitching. Great bullpen. That could be the Orioles next year. A good enough starting pitching and a great bullpen. The difference is we're not a terrible offense. We shouldn't be. There's some good guys on this roster. May a little bit of a slip up? Maybe. I mean, replacing 44 home runs isn't the easiest thing in the world, but you're expecting a better Jackson Holiday. You're expecting Colton Cowser to kind of take another step. You're expecting Jordan Westburg, from what you've seen last year, to be better than he was. If you get the same production out of Gunnar, that's great. We're going to get a better Adley Rutschman. I can promise you that. I mean, the guy was hitting 290, 15 home runs, 55 RBIs at June 1st. He was on pace for an MVP season. I don't care whatever they say. Something happened to him. He wasn't 1,000% ready to go. That's between him and them, and we're never going to know about it. He's going to come back and have a better season. There comes some of your production. We'll say even 5 more home runs. Tyler O'Neill, if he only plays 100 games, he's probably still going to hit you 30 home runs in 100 games. Let's just be honest about it. He's got that kind of power. Okay, there's 30. You got 5 more from Adley. There's 35. If Cowser hits 2 more, 3 more, right? He hits 26, 27 or something like that. Okay, now we're sitting at, 38? If Holiday hits 10, now you're at 42, 43 from what you were. Mullins might have a better season. Kerstag probably could hit you 20, maybe more. Everybody else is going to pick up for what you'll lose in Santander. What you'll gain all across the board is better, overall, more walks, a better average, better with runners in scoring position. So other things other than home runs will get better with replacing Santander. Had a good year this year, but that's all it comes down to, man. That's all it comes down to for the kids. Just hit better with runners in scoring position. Just hit better. What's my starting lineup right now? Day one of the regular season. Right now, I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be Zach Eflin. If Grayson Rodriguez comes out and absolutely throws the shit out of the ball in spring training, give him the opening day start. Give it to him. Why? Because you need to see what he is. We've seen the articles where advanced scouts say that he has Cy Young stuff. Let me see it. Throw him out there against the team's best. Don't baby him and hide him in the 2 or the 3. Put him in the spotlight because he's a bulldog. You can see it. He's got a little fiery attitude to him. Throw him out there. See what he can do for you. You got him till 2030, right? If he's going to be an ace, treat him as an ace. If he has a really good spring. Flip-flopping to Eflin and Grayson means absolutely nothing. They're both fantastic. They're both going to pitch phenomenal in either spot. It really doesn't matter. But if Grayson has a great spring, give him that vote of confidence. This is what you were drafted for. This is what we expect you to be. Here's at it. Like, that's my opinion on it. So I would start Grayson, right? Adley behind the plate, obviously. Westberg at third, Gunnar at short. We're going to have Holiday at second for now. Mountcastle is going to be at first because we're likely starting against Garrett Crochet. So we'll have Tyler O'Neill in right field. We'll have Cowser in center field. And I'm still waiting to figure out what they're going to do as far as another outfielder that can hit lefties. Because Mullins isn't all that great at it. Kerstad kind of remains to be seen. We don't know enough to know if he's capable of doing it. I'm still a Randall Grichuk fan. I think he would really help this team out. But I mean, that's what I would throw out there day one. Mark says, how do you see Kerstad, Mayo, Mountie, O'Hearn situation? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Kerstad is going to get some at-bats unless they trade him, obviously. Mayo, I think, is probably the prize trade. If we land somebody, it's going to be with Mayo involved, in my opinion. Mountie, I think they're going to give every opportunity they can for him to bounce back. He's still 27, still got 2 years control. They're moving the wall in for him. He's a defensive Gold Glove, in my opinion. And then O'Hearn is your platoon left-handed bat off the bench who hits really well with runners in scoring position. Those two last guys are going to get their time. Kerstad hopefully gets his chance to earn an everyday role. He was one of our best hitters before getting hit in the head. I mean, for like 3 straight weeks, like he was the guy. Runners in scoring position, it didn't matter. Lefties, righties, he was literally hitting everybody. So I think he's going to get his shot and to see what he can do here. Bregman would change a lot of things. I'm with John here. Bregman would change a lot. So I don't know. Montgomery, eat the money. Erod, 80% of the money. Mountie and Seti. I don't think that moves the needle for them, Joe. I would take Montgomery and Erod. I don't think Mountie and Seti move the needle for them to entice a trade at all. I don't know. It's just look. This is my take on Arizona. Zach Allen's a free agent in 2 years. They're going to go for it, and that's why they signed Corbin Burns, and that's why Corbin Burns has a 2-year opt-out. If it doesn't pan out, Arizona's on the brink of losing 2 quality starters in the end of 2 years. And both those guys are going to get a lot more money. They're going all in. I don't see them trading anybody right now. Ketel Marte is a top player. I don't want to call him an MVP type. He's potentially could be an MVP, maybe. He's just really good, and they just have a good roster. I mean, Corbin Carroll caught absolute fire in the second half, but we already know what kind of player he is. So that they're going to get an upgrade offensively there. they're going for it, man. They're going for it. And I just don't see them trading anybody, especially pitching wise. And with the amount of injuries that we see across the league, like having 7 guys is not a bad thing. And the O's might need to kind of take note on that because, yeah, if one of our guys here gets hurt, yeah, we are in trouble at this point because now you're relying on even more younger guys. And our whole philosophy this offseason was to get a little bit more older, get a little bit more veteran presence. So we'll see there. Mismanaged, it's hard to win this. It is. Brandon, that's not, I wouldn't call that a mismanagement. They're not in the luxury of just running a guy out there and playing him every day. They're not. And because guys can come out and they can start hot, teams figure you out, and then you suck. And when you don't play him again or you send him back down, it does damage the confidence. So it's a very hard line to walk. And I think so far they've walked it well. Some guys have come up and they've sucked and they've gone back down. They've been handed their papers. Hey, work on this. We see this. And they come back and they're doing fine. So I wouldn't call it a mismanagement personally. It's just what it is. And a lot of people don't understand this. Norfolk is a hitter's league. So everything you'll see coming up out of Norfolk is inflated a little bit. The ball flies there. The pitching isn't as good as the other AAA league. Most of the teams that are in that league, if you're a good arm, you're not in AAA anyway. So yeah, numbers are a little inflated coming out of Norfolk. So look, Mayo's going to come back. If he stays here, he's going to be better. They found the hitch in his swing. I'm sure he's out there working on it hard every single day. He's going to fix it. Holiday, same thing. He's staying with the Ohtani stance. He's working on it every day. It gets his hands in a better hitting position a little bit faster. It gets the foot down a little bit faster. All of that should work out better. I just don't see it being a mismanagement yet. It's just hard. When you bring Kjerstad up, obviously you want to see him play every single day. It's not always the case. You don't always have that luxury because of one matchups, and it could be feeling, it could be working on certain things. And the worst thing you want to do is give a young guy something to work on and then just tell him to go just try it out in the game. Like when they give you something to work on because they've seen something on film or they've identified something, you typically don't play for a couple days because you're just working on it the whole time. And then when they finally feel like you're ready, then you come back and play again. And they do that with some of these young guys. I feel like they do that more than most teams in a league. And that's kind of why you see the roster fluctuation all the time. Then I hope Raven has Bradish coming back safe. Yeah, he's not coming back till at least the end of August, probably. He's not going to be around for a while. Alcantara is available, in my opinion. Anybody's available for the right price. Let's be honest. Anyone is available for the right price. You start that trade with a Kobe Mayo, and they're listening. They're listening. And that's a guy I think probably Mike Elias is working the phones behind the scenes that nobody knows about right now. I'm all for it. And you know what, honestly, PR? I like Jorge Lopez a lot, and he's available. A lot of people probably don't like him and don't think he moves the needle, but you know what? That guy gets a lot of outs, and he did it last year. When he went back to the Cubs last year, he was really good. Really good. That's a guy that I felt like is a better version of Jacob Webb. It's an upgrade in my opinion. There's a lot of moving parts that they can upgrade here. It just depends on who they value where right now. We'll see. Bradish, Rodriguez, Eflin, Suarez, I think we may be okay. I don't think Suarez replicates, but I still think we're okay. Is that reported $110 million for 3 years from Drew Forrester seem legit to you? So we've heard that from Drew, but we've also heard John Heyman say that the Orioles, Red Sox, and Blue Jays were all three the top bidders. And they did say the top bid was $7 for $250. So he didn't clarify who had it or if all three of them were the exact same. I'm going to take it as all three of them were the exact same because they found out. So, yeah, but no, I've said it for a while. If the Orioles wanted to make a serious offer, all for 3 for $135. Give him $45 a year because Nothing else was moving the needle to get him away from his family, with how taxes work and whatnot. We hope, Ryan. We hope the Mountain coming back, the back end of the bullpen is much stronger. We hope. There's still a chance he could be hurt, you know? Yes, I agree, Paul. Good team, not great yet. Took maybe, we'll say, a baby step backwards right now. Maybe a baby step backwards offensively. Pitching-wise, they took a step back. They're back to where they were probably, I wouldn't say, well, I don't want to say they were where they were in 23, because I still feel like right now this team is better than they were in 23 in the starting rotation. Losing Corbin Burnes it's a big deal. I'm not going to discredit that. It's a big deal. But they're not bad by any means. They're still better than 23 when they won 100 games. They're not as good as 24, but I still think you're going to find a line in between of what we saw in 23 and 24 without Corbin. I still think we're there. I would love Scherzer. I've talked about it on the show a few times. I think Scherzer's a bulldog. Even still at this age, he is going to throw inside. He's going to throw what he wants. He's going to, talk shit. He's going to stare you down. He's going to motivate the guys around him. He's going to be motivated with a young, good team around him. And he's got a lot to offer. He's got a lot to offer. And I don't even care if you give him $20 million a year to sit there and only pitch 20 times this year. I don't care. Get him in the same room as Grayson Rodriguez and Povich and Dean, because Dean's a bulldog too. They just need that little bit more of direction. I'm going to go out and completely speculate. There's no factual to this at all. This is just me speculating. I didn't personally see Corbin as a mentor. A friend, yes. Maybe show you kind of here and there, like, oh yeah, I hold this grip, and I try to aim it here, like normal pitcher talk. I don't see him as a guy that's like, hey, stand with me in the dugout. Let's hold this clipboard together. Let's really dissect what these guys are doing at the plate. And I'm going to go through what I think I would do and how I would attack it. And this is how I think, with your stuff, how it plays, this is how you should do it. This is what I see from you. Look, pure speculation. I just don't see Burnes as that guy. Scherzer is. We've watched him several times now in several years when several teams do it with young guys. He would be a masterpiece to some of these younger pitchers. And especially if you bring up McDermott at some point, or Brandon Young and some of these bullpen arms, he's such a value to everyone on the team, in my opinion. Can watch that. Yeah. Right. It does. It gets a lot harder for the pitcher, man. No distractions. That's right. We're getting T-shirts made this year, Eric. No distractions. And we'll have Adley's number and name on the back of it. She got rid of him. I think we're good. Paul, I'm the same way, man. I could certainly see that out of Jordan. I mean, the guy missed 55 games last year and was right there. So I think that kind of expectation isn't far-fetched by any means. He's obviously a little bit older than some of the guys in the infield that have come up. And look, he's a bulldog, man. That's J.J. Hardy written all over him. And J.J. Hardy for a couple years had that 25 to 30 home run, string of seasons. And I think Westy could be that same guy. And he's great in runners in scoring position. I've always found it kind of odd. Let me pull it up real quick, because I've always found it very odd. His splits against lefties are really bad. And I want to see if it carries over from 23. It's just very odd to me, what I seen against lefties. So in 23, he was 21 for 74. So he hit 284 in 23. So last year at 100 at bats, he hit 230. He was 23 of 100. It was just odd. So at one point when I looked, it was below 2. When he came back after getting hurt, he hit lefties a little bit better. I thought that was so weird for him. And And the same with Kobe Mayo. I got to look him up again. When I had last looked at it last year, he had like less than 100 at bats against lefties or something like that. His splits were really weird. He had 1 home run all year against left-handed pitching. And like, yeah, 102 at bats last year, 1 home run in AAA, hit 255. Had 300 at bats against righties, hit 24 home runs, and hit 280. So, and then that kind of goes back to like, if you're a good lefty, you're not really sitting in AAA anyway. But that's subjective. Ryan says, I hope Gunnar works on not being so hard on himself. That's just who he is. That's the fire in him, and that's what's going to make him great, in my opinion. And as he gets a little bit older, you'll probably see a less visual of that, and more of it will be in the dugout as he walks through the tunnel. I think you'll probably see a little bit more of that maturity this year. Can Hoffman successfully transition back to the start? I don't see why not. I mean, if they're trying with Clay Holmes, why can't they try it with Jeff Hoffman? Yeah. I mean, Arthur, I'm with you, man. Get an innings eater. And that's what Sagana is probably going to be. Sagana is probably going to be our innings eater here. We could, Paul. Said he had a very nice second half. I don't have any issues with him playing out the season. He's look, he could be a guy. Look, if he's hitting 265, 270 at the deadline, could they maybe move him for a pen arm or something? A lot of things are in play. But yeah, if Seti comes back and hits what he did in the second half, that's going to help the team, obviously. Randall, I'm there with you. It's not that bad. It's good enough to win. Is it good enough to win a World Series? Probably not. But stranger things have happened. So who knows? I mean, these guys could come out this year and just catch fire. We don't know. And that's why I tried to say it earlier on Twitter. Baseball is not played on paper. And I kind of wanted to reiterate that to a lot of people. Baseball is not played on paper. Yeah, the Yankees look great right now. The Dodgers obviously look great. Like, you can pencil that in. The Dodgers, yes. Look, I'm not gonna pencil Paul Goldschmidt doing what he has done in his career in New York. Like, dude's almost 38 years old. Like, the body does slow down. We watched JD Martinez have a great year, and then he still had an okay year, but it wasn't a great year. Like, I think that's what you're going to see from Paul. He didn't have an okay year. A little bit better than Rizzo. That don't scare me. They lost Gleyber Torres. They have a hole in the infield still. Could fill it with Bregman. Then I would be a little bit scared. But right now, as it stands, their offense is you don't know what you're getting at Jason Dominguez. Could be great. Could suck. You don't know. There's a lot of unknowns and a lot of teams. Boston has done nothing to upgrade their offense, right? They've got a little bit better in the pitching side. Cool. Crochet's another guy. Crochet could throw one pitch and miss the whole year. That's why baseball is not played on paper. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think they went after Burns pretty hard, in my humble opinion. I think they offered him over 225. And if it wasn't a longer term deal, I think that offer was over 130. If it was a 3-year deal, I think they went after it. And even though they probably knew from the start they had no chance of signing him, I think they still probably tried. And we'll hear about it in the coming weeks or so like that. And it'll probably calm the fans down a little bit. Maybe. Is the DH of the regular? I don't think so. I think he's going to split some time with Gary Sanchez a little bit. He'll probably DH a little bit against righties. And then Gary will get the lefties. Even though Gary's not that great against lefties, he'll probably do it. And Tyler O'Neill's going to kind of, slither in there a little bit, some DH. You got to keep him healthy. So nobody's going to the Jays for a long time. Baseball is going to have to step in and figure out what they're going to do with Toronto, because nobody's going there anymore. I mean, if Vladdy's turning down $325 million from him, you're not getting anything. So once they lose Vladdy and Bo at the end of this year, they're done for a long time. Nobody's going there for an extra 33% tax on top of, the 30-some percent you're already paying in the U.S. So think about it. A lot of people don't understand this. When you play, especially in the AL East, you have to come and pay state tax in every stadium that you play in. You pay a state tax in that state because you're being paid to at that point in time. So you go to Canada, right? You're already paying your whatever 20. I think it's depending on how much you make, obviously 30%, 33% federal tax, and then you're paying 33% federal Canadian tax. A lot of money. And then you go to New York, right? And then you're paying New York state tax, and then you're paying Maryland state tax, and then you're paying New England state tax in Boston. Florida's not a whole lot. That's not a big deal. And then you travel to Houston. Houston is not all that much, but Kansas City, everywhere you play, it's a state tax. So you could be making $35 million in Canada, and you're walking home with around 11 when it's all said and done, maybe 12 or 13. That's a lot of dough to lose. And baseball is going to have to figure out what to do because it's going to hurt Toronto a lot. Taxes never used to be this bad federally. They never used to be that bad in Canada. But it's gonna hurt them bad. Arthur, I would love Pete. Look, I'm a Mountcastle guy. I think Mountcastle's going to bounce back. But if I have a chance to get a bona fide thumper in the middle of my lineup, I'm going to take it. I'll suffer the little bit of defense for Pete Alonso because what he does in high leverage situations, we don't have a guy that can do that right now. In the 8th and 9th inning in the last 2 years, he's got 15 home runs. So no moment is too big for Pete Alonso. You know how many Mountcastle has? 3. You know how many RBIs he has? It's like 9. Pete's got like 36. No moment is too big for Pete Alonso. May he strike out a lot? Sure. I get it. But Pete's a dog, and that's something this lineup needs. Moved up to plus 3,000. Look, man, they're in a good division. I still don't think they're going to do a whole lot, but they'll make the playoffs. But thoughts on Gunnar? Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. He's a good ball player. His defense is going to be better next year. He's not going to have as many errors as he did this year. I talked about it a couple times. I think he was hurt. He dropped that elbow down a lot, and a lot of guys that'll play, and I'm sure most of the people in this chat have played. Look, when you drop the elbow, the ball sails, and we watched it happen quite a few times. And he was throwing a lot on the run. He wasn't setting his feet, and he was throwing down. And a lot of guys compensate when they have some kind of shoulder issue, and they do that. And we also saw it at the plate. He sucked at the plate. He had no power. And then it all came back. Power came back. He started throwing back over the top again. So you can't tell me he didn't have some kind of some like tendonitis in the shoulder, arthritis, something. We'll see a better Gunnar Henderson this year in the field. I agree, Randall. They did. Look, Crochet's, like I said it, he's one pitch away, potentially. You don't know what you're getting out of that guy, but yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah. I like them both. Justin Steele, I've been trying to acquire him for about 4 years. Brian, what's up, man? Oh, Jason? I used to play ball with Jason. That's funny. Bregman, Scott, and trade for that's true. That's a lot. That would make this team World Series favorite, Randall. 100%. Projection is 2019. We are a little ahead. I think Sam will be up early. I don't know. Maybe. Second half rotation at 23 was nasty. It was. Grayson had a great time. And look, I think we're going to get a good Grayson. We're going to get a good Dean. Like, that's why I think this rotation is okay. Long term. Lopez will cost a boatload, but you know what? I'm okay with that because he has 3 years control. I don't care. I'll send Mayo off for that. Then we get a Bulldog vet anchor that make the back half of that rotation build. Why not? Absolutely, why not? It makes the team better in all sorts. Is that a microphone or a pudding pop? It's a microphone, man. I bought this off Amazon today. It's just a little windscreen. Because if not, I go, and you hear more of it. It protects that. They call it plosives. Current rotation on this team about 4th in division. They could still be. I think they could still be. Look, Tampa Bay didn't do a whole lot to increase their team at all. They're going to develop well. They'll still be decent. Toronto's rotation to me is nothing after Barrios. Gossman get a little bit older, getting hit around a little bit. I forget the other guy that we might trade for. He getting a little bit older too. Toronto's in the doghouse. They're not going anywhere. I would hope not. I'm probably going to text some shit for this. I don't like Mateo personally. I shouldn't say I don't like him. I would like to upgrade from him. If he's on the team, whatever, I'm going to cheer for him. I would like to upgrade Jorge Mateo with Alex Bregman. I'm going to shoot for the stars. I don't even care. Jace, appreciate it, man. They did. But, they didn't have an offense. And if we can build a bullpen just like theirs, I feel like our offense is better. They just got to show up. It's all about our offense showing up. Sign Eflin to an extension. I think a lot of people would be very accepting to that. I just don't know how long. How long would you go for that? You know what I mean? Like, I would go maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Because he's eventually going to decline a little bit. Do I ever think Trevor comes back? No, I think he's blacklisted. I think some teams have probably called him, and I'm pretty sure Rob Manfred has just said, hey, if you sign him, you're not getting your revenue money or something. He's blacklisted. I just want to see Bregman anywhere. I don't care if it's at third, second, first, DH. I don't give a crap. Give me Alex Bregman. Do I think Gossman could be available for the right price? He just has a hefty contract. They had to overpay him to get him to Toronto. So he comes with a hefty price tag. Literally a price tag. 0 income tax. Yep. One of the Scherzer Verlanders coming here. Look, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care. I think Scherzer is more of a mentor than Verlander at this point, though. Yeah, that's what I hear. And healthcare nowadays is abysmal up there because it's free for everybody. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate that. Give me Santander for a 2-year deal. I don't think I'd go above 2. We'll give him a 2-year prove-it deal. See what you got. Santander's numbers at first are pretty good. So I think a 375 career hitter. I'll take that. It's like a 189 at a DH. I don't want him DHing. Santander's a guy that's just got to be involved in the game to hit well. Putting him at DH, some guys can do it. David Ortiz can do it. Santander obviously can't. If they're not involved, I feel like mentally they kind of just drift away, and it's just hard to hit at that point. I would accept him playing first base, though. Yeah, look, he's good. Zach Lytle is okay. Decent, I shouldn't say okay. He's decent. Like they've got some stuff, but I don't see their rotation better than ours. I mean, I think our rotation is pretty decent. I do too. Out of the 3, right? So, and I've talked about this a couple times. You got Urias, Mateo, and Rivera. Rivera probably goes back to Norfolk. But even then, okay, Mateo, his shortstop was, that's why he got moved to second. He basically only plays outfield and second, which is fine. Urias basically plays first and third, and not a whole lot of first. Excuse me. So you're just very limited with both of these guys. Now you're bringing me Alex Bregman. Bregman can play third. He can play second. He can play first. He can DH. You got Westberg that can now play third. He can play short. He can play second. He could probably play first if you taught him. He's played a little left field in AAA. And now you got Jackson Holliday who can play shortstop. He can play second. And I still think he's going to be a damn good center fielder someday. Teach him. That gives you a lot of versatility. A lot. And, with how we like to play matchups and whatnot, I think Bregman allows you to kind of just dispose of Urias and just get better defensively, better off the bench, and just better matchups. Not saying that Urias is bad by any means. I mean, he hit very good for us. He filled in a very large role for us when Westberg went down, and I'm very grateful. But that is a guy that I wouldn't mind upgrading with Alex Bregman. Now, I don't think they can bring much in off the streets. It's going to be better than Ramon Urias or Jorge Mateo at this point. But, hey, team struggles to hit. Go get yourself a hitter. That's how I see it. Free healthcare business. Yeah. That's what I heard. Look, I'm still a Trevor guy. I know that half of probably 3/4 of Orioles Twitter has absolutely written him off. That's fine. The guy's got good stuff. He's got good break. He's got good movement. The Marlins aren't the greatest organization in the world when it comes to rehabbing guys. I mean, you saw it with Luzardo. Come back, it wasn't that great. I think the Phillies are going to be a much better place for him to get his arm correct again. Alcantara, same thing. I don't know what you're going to get out of him. It's scary when the Marlins try to rehab guys, but it's a chance you got to take. I like Trevor. I think he's got a good pitch mix. If he can learn to locate more than 2 pitches, I think he becomes very good. At the worst case, he becomes Keegan Aiken out of the bullpen. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not there yet with certain people thinking that the season's a wash because they didn't re-sign Burns. When he walked off the field in the playoffs, like, I think we all knew that was the last time he pitched in the Orioles uniform. I don't think he was happy he even got traded here. And it had nothing to do with the Orioles at all. It was just the fact that he couldn't pick where he wanted to go. I think that's what pissed him off. So he walked through the door pissed off, and he made the best of it, in my opinion. But he was ready to go. He was ready to test free agency 2 years ago in Milwaukee. He made it very well known that he couldn't wait for free agency, and he said it again here. Hey, look, I think we tried, and I probably tip my hat to them. I know a lot of people are probably going to still blame the front office. And look, the comments about liftoff, I think Mike probably regrets saying them. But when he said them, this is my philosophy on it, and I talked with Eric about it. When he said those comments, liftoff from here, December of 2022. December of 2022, John Angelos thought he was the guy in the organization, that he was taking over the team. He got through that dispute with his brother. That lawsuit was kind of settled a little bit. He thought he was the guy. And he and Mike Elias probably had some conversations. They probably had a vision of the future of the team. And March of 2023 is when we found out the Orioles were looking to sell. And it's just like any other company. I work for companies that sell all the time. When a company sells, it's a halt. There's no spending at all. It's if some of you work where you do a lot of inventory, when you all know when it's inventory week, nothing comes in and out. That's it. Nothing moves until you're done. And that's how when you sell a baseball team. In March of 2023, they found that they potentially were going to sell. They couldn't move anything. They budgeted, okay, we're going to sign Kyle Gibson and then Roughneck Odor. They didn't do a whole lot. That was it. They spent, what did they spend? It's like $15 million or something like that. They added just a little bit. Then they couldn't do a whole lot after that. And then it became, okay, we found a buyer. Cool. You still can't sell. You still can't buy. You still can't have a whole lot of money transaction going on, right? The books got to be perfect, because if the books aren't perfect, a sale doesn't go through. So they're deadlocked. So pretty much all of 2023, the books are deadlocked. The Orioles couldn't do anything. They can't spend. John can't spend. Mike can't spend. It was just an unfortunate situation, in my opinion. Now, fast forward to 2024. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today, oh, the sale's been done for a year. It hasn't. The sale was done by the state about a year ago, right before the season started. So that's not even been a year. But it wasn't approved by Major League Baseball, and they didn't acquire the remaining section of the Orioles until, what, was it June or July or something like that? After the trade deadline anyway. So they've realistically have had this team and the revenue for what, 4 months, 5 months that they've been allowed to spend money. And the first thing they did was sign Tyler O'Neill to a fairly decent contract. And they overpaid Gary Sanchez. And I think they were in on other guys, and it just didn't work out. When the money finally was available, they spent it, and it just didn't work out yet. I'm not ready to throw my towel in yet. I'm just not. There's other guys available. There's other means of acquiring good players, and baseball is not played on paper. So that's just how I feel about it. It was just an unfortunate time to say those words, and then just a couple months later, it was just, hey, we got to sell. And even think about it. I mean, how many articles did we read about the Orioles potentially moving to Tennessee? That would have froze everything, right? Because it's easier to kind of sell in state. Well, now you got to cross state lines with a company and stuff. Then the books really had to be perfect. So look, everything kind of froze up, and it was just an unfortunate timing. But hey, look, he's got 54 days until spring training starts. Pitchers and catchers report in 54 days. He's got 54 days to make this roster a little bit better. And a little bit better to me is stouting up the bullpen. And if you want to break it off in between, like a Bregman and then just one good guy in the bullpen, look, just find something and attack it. And look, from 23 to 24, we knew the starting rotation needed to be upgraded. What did we do? We upgraded the starting rotation. And it was better in 24 with, 10 injuries? So, and now we know this year, the bullpen needs to be upgraded. So, not a whole lot of guys have been signed off that relief pitching market yet. So they're available, all of them. I think only like 2 have been signed so far. Chapman and Romano. So there's guys available. Not get Birds a step back from last year. We had him last playoff games, giving up 3 total runs. Yes, it does. It's more on the hitting. It is a step back. And I talked about this earlier, Ricky. It is a step back, but they're not going to be as bad as 23. They're not going to be as bad as 23. They're going to be in between the line there, between 23 and 24. I think there's enough guys here. And I've asked the question and I've gotten mixed results on it. Are the Orioles good enough to have some 2s and 3s and get to a World Series rather than just having a bona fide ace? Some people think you need a bona fide ace. Some people think you can get away with it. I personally think, this is just me personally, we can get away with a couple 2s and a couple 3s and make it past a division series or an ALCS. It all comes down to the bats. Can they hit? Can they hit when it matters? And if they can, you get your starter through 5 or 6 innings, giving up 2 runs or less, and you got a stout bullpen. There's absolutely no reason why you can't win a playoff series. None. It's the O's are fine. They really are. It's really easy to look on paper in December and be like, oh, the O's are going to suck and they're going to finish 3rd or 4th and miss the playoffs. It's just not how baseball works. Just not how baseball works. Look at Bo Bichette. Look at Bo Bichette. He was a godsend in 23. Let me pull his stats up here. And this can happen to anybody in baseball. And it happens to teams all the time. So in 2023, he hit 306 with 20 home runs, right? 2022 hit 290 with 24 home runs. And in 2021, he hit 298 with 29 home runs. You know what he did last year? 225 and 4 home runs. It happens in baseball. And this is why baseball isn't played on paper. Because shit like this happens. And it happens to good players. Aaron Judge could come out and break a toenail again in Dodger Stadium and miss 6 months. The Yankees are not winning without Aaron Judge. I don't care what they do in their starting rotation. Their lineup is not good enough without Aaron Judge. Across the board, they have average players all over the field outside of Aaron Judge. They get one injury, they maybe not make the playoffs. They didn't last time he missed time. That's why baseball is not played on paper. I get a little hyper about that. I'm sorry. You can hit, you can get by with 2s and 3s starter. Yeah, exactly. The Rangers did it. The The Royals did it against us years ago. Cleveland just did it. Dodgers just did it. They had Yamamoto, and that was about it. Flaherty gave them nothing in the playoffs. Nothing. The lineup was good. They hit, and the bullpen was great. And they did it. Look at San Diego. San Diego took the Dodgers to the brink. They lost Joe Musgrove. All they had was Dylan Cease, and he didn't even pitch well in October. And they took the Dodgers to the brinks because they had a good offense and they had a good bullpen. The game has changed. So I just wish more people would understand that and not push the panic button right away in December. Corbin Burnes is a luxury. He's a luxury. Is he a must-have? 90% yes, but you can win without him. That's all I'll say about that, because that might get taken the wrong way, and I understand that. It's easier to win with him. I'll go with that. It's easier to win with Corbin Burnes, but you still can win without him, is what I'm trying to say. Making a run at Valdez next year, given the front office connections with Framber? Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's been talks that we may try to acquire him this year. I don't see Houston trading him this year. I really don't see him kind of, moving, so to say, off of their roster. I think they're going to still make a run at it. They're still probably the best team in their division. They just made the playoffs. I just don't see it. Same with Dylan Cease. I don't see how a team goes that deep with the Dodgers and wants to trade their ace. I don't think he's an ace personally. But either way, why would they even make him available? That's my biggest question, is why was he even available? Like, immediately you came out and said, I don't care if you can't re-sign him next year. What you just did this year with him, why would you want to get rid of that? Things like that make me question, does he have character issues? Does he have an arm issue? Like, I question those things of why aces are available after they're on winning teams in the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, that's how I feel. It doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right. It's like a luxury car. Let's put it that way, Volcano. It's like a luxury car. Is driving a Lexus or Range Rover nice? Hell yeah, it's nice. Do you need it? Can a Toyota 4Runner get you from the same place? Yeah, get you to A to B. And that's what Corbin is. Corbin is a Range Rover. He can get you to A to B, and it's going to look a lot nicer getting you there. But that 4Runner can do the same thing. Might not look as nice. And this is kind of like a perfect analogy. Range Rover probably gets a little bit better gas mileage, but the 4Runner, especially with the new engine, isn't that far off, right? So 2.92 ERA. If you get somebody in here who has a 3.13 or a 3.2, is it that big of a difference? It's just questions people have to ask yourself. Yes, exactly. They don't have anything around Aaron Judge. Stanton cannot carry that lineup. He's not. And he's not going to stay healthy again. And Judge probably not going to stay healthy again either. Chisholm, I've never really thought he was all that great. He's a decent ball player. He's a decent ball player. He's got a lot of flash to him. He's not carrying a lineup. He feasted off some bad teams when he was in Miami. Whatever. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that. They don't have enough. College pitching is going to be the best class in years. Look, they already picked 19. They get 30 for Burnes. They get 31 for Santander if he signs elsewhere. And then they have 58. Now, you could either stack that up for pitching, or now that you can trade comp picks, you could trade 2 comp picks for someone like Pablo Lopez, because their value is very high at 30 and 31. Right? So now you don't, the blow isn't as big if you trade 2 comp picks for someone like Jared Jones or Pablo Lopez, because you're getting value in return in first round draft picks. Now those values are only about $2 million or something like that. But what that does is instead of starting the conversation with Kobe Mayo, now you get to start the conversation with Heston Kjerstad. Or you start the conversation with Bradfield. Like, those comp picks being able to be traded are a big deal if a team values them at that range. I mean, look at Arizona. Could they trade a comp pick for Jordan Montgomery? Yeah, because Arizona picks 18th. Then they get 29 for Christian Walker. What if they went 18, 29, 30 because you got Jordan Montgomery out of it? You didn't trade a player, but now you just got a good player back to back. You get 3 first-round picks and 6 years control. You know what I mean? And you didn't have to give up anything for it. Like, those picks hold value. Would I rather have Corbin Burns? Yeah. Let's be real. I'm not saying that I'd rather have the draft picks, but now that we have the draft picks, use them right. Either go and take a good college arm, like you're saying, Joe. It's good class, or trade it for Pablo Lopez or something like that. It's true. It's very true. But that Toyota 4Runner is a dependable car, right? It's not going to break down on you. Range Rover might break down. We see it all the time. The 4Runner is not going to break down on you. And if the Orioles have 3 or 4 Toyota 4Runners that are good enough and they don't break down on you, that's a good enough team to win as long as you have a good bullpen with it. They do. They develop extremely well. And I'll be dead honest with you. I don't know if you were around when I made the video, Randall. I wasn't a huge fan of the Eflin trade at first. And it wasn't because that we acquired Zach Eflin. It's because of what we gave up to get him. I was very high on Matthew Etzel and Armbruster. I think he is going to be exceptional in Tampa Bay's system. So remember that name, because he's probably going to be really good, because they're really freaking good at developing arms. So we'll see him for many, many years. Yeah. I mean, they may have called Arizona themselves and said, hey, I really want to pitch here. You have a need. You know, nobody knows how that worked out, but it was odd. But hey, it was a great spot for him. Me too, Randall. Me too. Yeah. I mean, so look, I've had this debate a few times. Mateo brings energy, which I'm grateful for. I think he is a great guy to kind of rally the troops. I think guys feed off of how he plays the game. He plays it very hard. All you ever hear about is his speed. I got to pause here for a second, but we don't run enough to warrant Mateo, if that makes sense. We don't steal enough. We don't pinch run Mateo enough to warrant him playing every so often and taking up a roster spot. Is he going to continue to hit left-handed pitching hard? Maybe. He doesn't hit righties. And he always finds a way into significant playing time for the Orioles. And it's fine, because he'll make a nice defensive play here and there, and here and there he'll get some base hits and stuff. It's fine. I root him on. We just don't run enough to worry about speed being the reason why we keep him over somebody else. If this team stole the bases like they should, and if they were putting runners in motion like they should, keep Mateo 100%. But you had him last year and you didn't run him. You had Jackson Holiday last year. You didn't run him. You had Cedric Mullins last year. He didn't run enough. Westberg didn't run enough. Kjerstad didn't run enough. So to me, I'm going to take the bat. Urias is a good bat off the bench. Hit well, very well coming off the bench. He hit well filling in for Westberg. He carried the offense for a couple weeks. Like, I'm going to take the bat over the speed, just because we don't utilize speed the way that we should. If they decide to change that, then yes, by all means, please keep Mateo because I like his energy and I think the guys feed off him very, very well. But if you're not going to run him, then just please keep the bat. Even though Mateo does play a couple other defensive positions compared to Urias, I don't care. I want a guy that can hit. But yeah, that wouldn't shock me, Joe. It wouldn't shock me. When you want to play somewhere, why wouldn't you call him? You know what I mean? Boris has him on speed dial. I'm sure they had the conversation. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to come in and just talk about. I've had so much that I wanted to talk about. I can't type it all. So I figured just going live and just chatting about it. And, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm probably a more positive person when it comes to the Orioles than I should be. And a lot of my friends that, will tell you that I will find the positive out of anything. I'm a homer, and that's fine. I'm not afraid to admit it. I like my guys, and I'll find a way to make you feel like they're good enough. And you know what? Whatever. That's how I feel about it. I still think this is a playoff team. I'll say it again before I wrap this up. Did they take a step back? Yeah. I just don't think it was a giant step. I don't. I don't care what Boston did. I don't care what New York did. Look, they were just in the World Series, and they got rid of half their team. Half their team. Guys that kind of faced adversity all year, and they didn't crack. And they just got rid of all of them. And I don't think they upgraded a whole lot in doing so. Now look, Devin Williams, big upgrade. Big upgrade. That's probably their best upgrade. Max Fried, okay. That's how I feel about that. Okay. It don't scare me. He gets guys out, cool. We'll face him maybe like 3 times. He'll get some other teams out. He's whatever. He's whatever to me. A guy who takes the rubber once a week, it's whatever to me. Cool, you lose 1 game. If you see him 1 time in a series, you win the other 2. You win the series. Who gives a shit? That's how I feel about it. Hit the other 2 guys. Pitchers don't bother me a whole lot. I don't know. That might just be me as a previous offensive player. I don't know. They have bad nights too. They have great nights. It's just 1 game. It's different when Vlad comes to town and Vlad's hot and wants to hit 5 home runs in a series. That's a difference maker. 1 guy a night? Give a shit. 1 game. 4-game series. Cool, you win 3-1. Okay? Not saying that they're, going to beat up on the Yankees like that, but it's just 1 game, right? If you get Garrett Cole and Max Fried in a 4-game series, cool, you split the series 2-2. No harm, no foul, right? They didn't do enough offensively right now to make me scared at all. It's just now I'm not going to be overly confident that the young hitters are going to come out and do what they're supposed to. I expect them to, but I've watched them for 2 years in a row not do it. So they've got a lot to prove. And I'm hoping with, another year under their belt, another year older, we start to see that step in maturity. And if it does, the Orioles are still a dangerous team. If these guys take that step in maturity offensively, now we had one of the better offenses in baseball last year in the first half, are better now than they were last year. If every one of those guys takes the step maturity-wise, if they don't, if they hit like they did in the second half, we're fucked. Doesn't matter if they went and signed, 5 Sandy Koufaxes. If the offense hit like it did in the second half, they ain't winning shit anyway. So it's just going to come down to the offense, man. It's not a bad bet, Joe. It's not a bad bet. Throw $10 on it. What's a $10 win on that? Who does it hurt? You know what I mean? Who's it hurt? Who's likely to sign a 1-year deal and re-enter the market? Pivetta is going to try and get whatever he can. Flaherty will probably try and do a one-and-doner. I think Pivetta knows who he is and he wants security. Um, Jack, I think, is more volatile, where he could come and give you a very nice 1 year. Look, I like Jack. I like Jack a lot. I liked when they traded for him. I felt like he was the right move, and I felt like he was a good fit for what we were doing, based on the mentality that we needed. It just didn't work out. Uh, we there's never been like full confirmation on it, but I've heard the grumblings of he just never gelled with anybody in the clubhouse the day he got here. And I believe it because, he didn't want to be traded from St. Louis. He loved St. Louis. And when you love a place like that and you grow up there and you spent your whole life there, you don't want to leave. And it probably had nothing to do with the Orioles, but was there some resentment just in general? Yeah. Probably had an attitude. It's hard to come in and just flip a switch and enjoy all of it. And then when you struggle a little bit after that, like it all just falls downhill. And I don't think Jack's a bad person. I don't think he's a locker room cancer by any means. I just think it was just a bad timing. He went to Detroit last year and he had a lot of fun. He was always smiling. You heard nothing about him as being a bad teammate or a distraction or anything. So it was just bad timing on Jack. And does bringing him back here help the team? Yeah. I think it just depends on, and we'll never know, but what happened in that locker room. Was it enough for the players to say hell no, or was it just the case of I'm salty like it was with Austin Hayes? Because if it's just I'm salty, guys get over that shit. They don't care. So I don't know. It really just depends with Jack and how bad it was, if it even was bad. We don't really know. I think St. Louis wants to free that money, Joe. I think they're trying to cut some funds. Their owner don't like really spending a whole lot of money. He's trying to get rid of Arnado. He's trying to get rid of Sonny. Sonny's got 3 years left. He's an older guy. Look, for the right price, I'll take Sonny. I just don't know if you get him for the right price. That's the scary part. But look, with his contract, it's not going to cost one of the bigger name guys. You could probably get him for maybe an Orioles top 10 prospect. Let's take a look at that actually. Let's see who potentially could be available for Sonny Gray. It's not going to be a top prospect. It's still going to be a top 30. Don't get me wrong. But a top 10 guy could be like Judd Fabian. Judd Fabian for Sonny Gray and maybe one other guy probably gets that done, to be dead honest with you. Probably gets it done. I don't think they would trade Luis De Leon for that. I would like to see him move up a little bit this year. Steven Martinez might get it done. He's a 17-year-old rookie ball. Like, because of the contract and they want to cut it, it's not going to cost you a McDermott, Bradfield, Honeycutt, Basayo, or something like that. It's just not. They might be able to even start it with, with Thomas Sosa or Braylon Tavera and go with a second guy or something like that. They could potentially do it with like Creed Willems. There's a need for a catcher in St. Louis. There's options. It just depends on, if St. Louis is drunk or not. They have a need to shed some shed some money, and I don't think they're going to be too picky on who they get back, especially at a Baltimore system. We still have a very good system. Our top 20 is probably most teams' top 10. 2 years left. Let me look it up real quick. I thought it was 3. Let's see. Free agent 27. So 25, 26, 27. Or no, just 25 and 26. Yeah, okay. So 2 years. Yeah, signed through 26. Okay, yeah. I mean, a 3.51 ERA. Look, I'm not against it at all. That's career wise. So last year I had a 3.84, 166 innings. I would like to see that innings up. Um, only pitching 28 games. That's not a whole lot. He didn't go deep into the ball game all that often. But the whip was good. I just look. You give me Sonny Gray and Eflin and Rodriguez and Sagano and Kramer. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's a playoff team. That's a good enough rotation. As long as your back into your bullpen is good, that rotation is good enough to win a playoff series. Maybe two. They're good enough. You just need guys to get you through the sixth inning. That's it. Sixth inning, less than 2 or 3 runs. This offense should be capable enough of averaging 5+ runs a night. Should be. Because they did it most of 23 and the first half of 24. And if they do that, they're beating a lot of teams. So, look, it's not all doom and gloom, man. Burns would have been nice, but there's still ways to win. And I'm going to wrap it up with that. There's still ways to win. Don't hate me. If you don't agree with me, don't hate me. But it's all good. I appreciate you guys hopping in here tonight. I just wanted to kind of just get on and talk and just get some stuff off my chest. And I appreciate every one of you coming in and chat with me tonight. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Have a great New Year's. I want you all to stay safe. We'll come back here in a couple days after New Year's. Hopefully the Orioles have done a little bit something, give us something to talk about a little bit. But you know what?